pretty good.
All right, so what's the love life going to be like the next season?
You know, I don't think Hayley's priority is or ever kind of has been her love life. Hayley, all she ever wanted was family, and even if it happened in a quite unusual situation, by getting pregnant and having her child, she finally got the one thing that she's wanted her whole life, which is family. And so really hope is the only important thing in her life right now, you know.
Guys talking about this new season feels a bit like a reboot or a fresh start. Do you get that feeling with the season?
Yeah, definitely. Season 2 is definitely about family and which, you know, can create kind of a bit of a restriction in the dynamics, you know. Whereas this season, we're introducing all these new characters, which are characters that aren't related to most of our characters, which creates different dynamics, whether it's romantic or physical or violent. It's not just about siblings and the behavior between that kind of, you know. So I think it's going to create some really interesting, like, triangles, some really interesting, like, alliances between people, and people are going to play people in different ways, and there's nothing besides the Michelsons, no one's tied in any way, whereas sometimes with the siblings, they all have this, like, always and forever bond. So when you have all these new players, they have no ties to the original, so either they're foe or friend, you know. So that's what I think is going to be really different about this season.
Are we going to delve more into your backstory at all this next season, do you think?
I think so. That's just been promised. Yeah, you know, there's so many kind of really detailed descriptions of Hayley's childhood, and I think they're there for a reason, otherwise they wouldn't be there. And, you know, I think the intention has always been to have, you know, a long-running show, and so I don't think that, hopefully, I don't think the writers have rushed to tell that story, but I do think it's a story that will be told and needs to be told, and I think planting little things about her parents being killed and her being, you know, adopted, and the way that she turned is a little suspicious, and was that really the way that she turned, or was there something a little weirder and darker that happened? And so I think that's something that they do have up their sleeve and they have ideas for, and hopefully this will be the season that it plays out.
Well, now with this, the reversing of the reversing of the curse, but it's totally screwed up the entire pack. How are they gonna, like, function?
So where we kind of find Hayley in the pack in the beginning of the third season, once a month they are human, and Hayley and Elijah has been coming to Hayley every full moon and bringing clothes and filling her in on what's been happening, you know, in New Orleans and in the compound and with Klaus and everything. So that's kind of her one, not human tie, but you know what I mean, her tie with the outside world. And I do think, you know, the pack in their raw form has been getting closer and stronger and learning to kind of be who they really are a little bit. But I do think that when they do eventually become human, that's going to kind of follow them a little bit, that kind of animalistic mentality, and I think they're going to be a little bit more feral, which I think is really cool. I mean, if you're stuck as a werewolf for months on end and you're only human once, you end up kind of becoming what you are. Yeah, mentally. I mean, you're living in the woods and you're not showering and you're having to, you know, I don't know, find dinner.
I mean, getting hunted. I can't imagine,
exactly.
Like, how many numbers are still there.
Exactly. So yeah, I think that's going to be really cool. Yeah.
Is there anything that they're throwing at you now that you're like, oh, I never anticipated this, and I'm not sure how this is going to play out for her, or anything?
Not just yet. I mean, I'm sure that will happen as we go on filming. But yeah, not just yet. Yeah.
Are you excited for the panel layer? It feels like, you know, it's kind of that time once a year you get to almost be like a rock star. It's like amazing. Step on stage.
This is the boys. Yeah, the panel is really fun. fun. It is. It's really like I always really look when I think about Comic-Con, I just think about doing that panel. It's a really wild experience. Like I said, I mean, we're in Atlanta, and we have Twitter, and that's a great way to communicate with the people that are watching our show. But it's like we're kind of like to actually see the physical amount of people that care enough to like come and line up and buy tickets to go see this panel for an hour. It's like super cool. And so, and it's also that is so kind of directly for the fans, so you're really there to talk to the fans, they have questions, and it's the closest, like, way to really, really connect with them, and I think it's really cool. Yeah.
Are you amazed at the passion of the fans where they want Hayley and Klaus to be together? Because they are really passionate.
Yeah, they are really passionate. Yeah, I think it's really nice. I mean, I know it's like, negative and everyone on Twitter, but like, I wish I was that passionate about anything. And I think that's what it is. I mean, I don't think people are really trying to be mean. I think sometimes maybe things become a little bit negative, but it's ultimately because these fans are so passionate. They feel like they know these people, and it's like the way that you're passionate about like your friend dating the wrong person, and you're angry about it, and you're, that's how I see all that on Twitter and on Tumblr and all that kind of thing. But Klaus and Hayley, I think it's not ruled out at all. I just think it has to happen in an organic way, and I don't think right now it makes sense for Hayley and Klaus to be together. But because they've gone through so much, and Klaus has done some really awful things to Hayley. Yeah. But as I said, this show hopefully will be on for a long time, and we can really like tell stories and not just like throw out storylines to appease people. I think you want to kind of really, the payoff needs to be like worth it at the end. And whether that's with Elijah or with Nathan Jackson or with Klaus, we'll see. A lot of boys.
I've really enjoyed watching Hayley kind of really come into her own and come into her role as another pack leader. How has that been for you as far as like the dynamics on the set with all the extras and everything like that?
Yeah, it's cool. The pack is really cool. I always feel like when I'm shooting those scenes, it's like having a bodyguard or like an entourage. That's what it feels like. But it's nice. It's like a really cool kind of story to play, and it's like a little like I don't get to do any of the period stuff, and it's the closest thing to like kind of like the period stuff that the other guys get to do. They like have this like pack of wolves. It's a really cool little storyline. I like it.
Is there anything particular about her you'd like to sit and explore some more?
Definitely what you guys said before. I really want to see the backstory. That's why I think it's really important for me. I want to know what happened. That's number one important. But also for the fans, I also think it's a really interesting story. And I think what's so cool about the originals is that we do all these flashbacks and stuff. But I don't think all the flashbacks necessarily have to be like hundreds of years ago. I think that there's flashbacks like. There was that storyline that Marcel says that he basically saved Hayley when she was an infant. Like, I want to see that story on television. Like, you can't just be like, oh yeah, how random. We know each other. You saved me like 25 years ago. Whatever. Like, it needs to be like played out. So that's what I think is going to happen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.